So I thought I'd share a little information about this plant, which is Mexican tarragon, Tagetes lucida. There it is, Tagetes lucida. And I mention that because at least one popular seed catalog, it's listed as French tarragon. But French tarragon, if we pan down over here, not that basil, but right in between, this little guy, that's French tarragon. And it's in a different genus, it's an altogether different plant. So if you're looking for French tarragon, you want Artemisia draconculcus. So anyway, this is Mexican tarragon. And I hadn't seen very much information about it before, and I've grown it now for about a year and a half, so I thought I'd just tell you about my experiences. So it grows as a perennial in warm climates, and this is Los Angeles, and it has a nice anise flavor, and that's why I grew it. I had trouble growing the French tarragon. It just didn't seem to do well for me. I planted a few plants out, and it had fungal problems. I don't know, maybe it was something I was doing, but it never did well. This Mexican tarragon, in contrast, is doing very well now. In its first year, it grew a long, slender shoot, almost 2 feet long, before it branched out. So I would say if you're going to grow this, in its first year, cut it down low. I would let it grow one long stalk like this, and cut it off after maybe 2 nodes, 3 nodes, something like that, and it will branch out. As you can see, there it is. There's its habit. Maybe this is easier to see. That's its habit. It will grow and then branch off at about 30 degrees on both sides. And so it can grow quite shrubby, and I've seen pictures of it growing, 2 or 3 feet across for a single plant, so it can get pretty good size. Like I say, it has a nice anise flavor or fennel-like flavor. If you bruise the leaves, it has a slight smell. It also has a little bit of a sour taste, so it's not a perfect substitute for French tarragon if that's what you want, but it's a nice herb, and it does have that taste. The flowers are probably the tastiest part of all. Especially when the nectaries are active. They're very sweet, have a nice anise flavor. It's something, a little treat you can only get if you grow it yourself. This is mustard, by the way, so just ignore that. Lost my train of thought there. So it's in the Tagetes genus. Again, it's Tagetes lucida, and that's the same genus as marigolds. So it's not actually in the same genus as true tarragon. So it grows, somewhat like a marigold. You can see it has these small yellow compound flowers, and the seeds are also like a marigold seed, and so you can sow them quite thinly, and they seem to be a little bit finicky about germinating, so I would overseed, and to get one plant I might seed 4 cells with a couple of seeds in each cell. Just my experience was that I've germinated a couple times, and it's been a little bit finicky. I also wanted to mention a plant over here. This is holy basil, tulsi kapoor, and there are different kinds of holy or Ayurvedic basil. This is just one. It looks like a mess now because it's about to come out, and it has been flowering and setting seed, and I've been harvesting from it continuously for over a year. So this is the tail end of a pretty successful plant for me. So if you can come in close there, that gives you a little bit better idea what it looks like when it's healthy. It does produce small, bright green leaves. It grows pretty quickly here in the warm climate. And the leaves are a little bit furry, so it's not something that I would eat directly as a salad like other basils, but I have added it into pesto and the like, and it's just fine. It has, though, unlike most basils, it has a particularly sweet, almost cotton candy-like flavor. So it's a different flavor from other basils that I've encountered. This is also a little bit, maybe that's a better look. There's a flower and a few leaves, that's still going. It also has a wonderful smell. If you just come and you kind of, brush it, or when I water it, it immediately comes up with I can only describe it as a cotton candy-like smell. It's not really a perfect analogy, but so a very interesting plant, and one that's been easy to grow and that I've harvested a lot from. I got both of these from Horizon Herbs, so that's one source in Oregon, and you can just look them up. but you can probably also find them other places. This is, in particular, like I say, it's the kapoor variety of Ayurvedic basil. Just from reading the descriptions, I think some of the other holy basils are probably different from this. So anyway, if you were curious about any of these herbs, I hope that was useful. One other thing I did want to mention about this tulsi kapoor is that unlike sweet basils, Italian basil, Thai basil, this one has not changed its flavor appreciably after it goes to flower. It has a pretty distinctive flavor, so it's not really a substitute for other basils, but it's an interesting herb in that it continues to have a nice flavor, pretty much the same flavor, even as it's been flowering. So again, I mean, like other basils, the flowers are nice eating on their own, and you don't have to pull it out. You can keep growing it even after it goes to flower because the leaves stay flavorful. Okay.